Hello everybody. So the new Pixar movie Soul finally is here on Disney Plus, released on Christmas Day, and today I'm going to review it. Before I do, I just want to say happy 2021 to everybody. It is not currently 2021 when I'm filming this, it is New Year's Eve, but by the time this gets posted on Saturday, it will be January 2nd, 2021, so happy 2021, happy New Year's to everybody. 2020, the worst year ever, is finally over. Hopefully 2021 is a lot better than 2020. I think at the very least it will be good for this channel. I'm hoping, here's my goal for this year, is by the end of the year, I want to have 500 subscribers. I think we could do it. I think we could get to 500 subscribers by the end of this year. And yeah, so that's my goal for 2021, to get 500 subscribers. I think we could do it. But I think enough of that stuff, because I think it's finally time. Without further ado, let's get into my review of the new Pixar movie, Soul. Alright, so actually before I get into my review, I just want to say what my structure of my reviews and my reviews moving forward are going to be. Because I feel like my reviews so far on this channel haven't followed I haven't had a really good structure for them. They've kind of all had different structures, and I want to create a pretty consistent structure for every review that I do. So it'll probably vary depending on, what type of movie it is or TV show episode, but I'm going to try to keep it, so I'm going to do a non-spoiler review, then a spoiler review where I just kind of pick out some this certain moments in what I'm reviewing that I really enjoyed, that stood out to me. And then I'm going to say the themes of the movie that I'm reviewing. Again, it might vary because I think I'm going to do the first episode of WandaVision when it comes out. I'm going to do a review of that. And it may not necessarily have a theme of it, so I might give my predictions for the rest of the season of WandaVision, but it'll pretty much consistently be not spoiler review, spoiler review where I pick out things that stood out to me, and then a theme or prediction or something, my overall thoughts of whatever I'm reviewing. Without further ado, let's get into my non-spoiler review. So pretty much, I think that this movie is really Pixar doing what Pixar does best. And what I mean by that is that it creates a really good balance of the, animation and humor that kids enjoy, and they balance that with the serious adult themes of, that adults can enjoy, and they just create a movie that's good for all ages to watch, and that's what Pixar does great, and this movie is no different than that. So I think that if you enjoy Pixar movies so far, especially if you enjoy original Pixar movies and not sequels of previous Pixar movies, then this is definitely the movie for you, because it's a Pixar movie, and it follows exactly what every single Pixar movie does, and does it great. And I also want to say that the animation in this is amazing. I'll get into specifics when I get into the spoiler portion of the video, but it just has such good animation, and it's just so cool to, see how far Pixar's animation has come since 1995 in Toy Story, where, they had to make all the characters toys because they didn't really know how to animate humans, and now it's, they have a whole movie of humans, and there's, things throughout it that just look amazing. So yeah, so that's the two things that I think Pixar does well, and this movie is no different. It does well also, where it balances the kid stuff with the adult themes, and also it has amazing animation, everything that you want from a Pixar movie. So again, if you enjoy Pixar movies, you will definitely enjoy Soul. But now, let's get into the spoiler review, where I give the little moments throughout the movie that stood out to me. So I want to start out by just saying, giving specifics of the animation I talked about in the non-spoiler portion of the video. I'm gonna give the specific moments that I was thinking about when saying that. One of the biggest things in the movie for me with the animation was the saxophone that Dorothea Williams has. I think that was really well animated, and it looks kind of like a real saxophone. So I think that was really good animation. And also, this is kind of a weird thing to point out, but I really liked in the first scene where he's in the classroom, they have the blown out light from the window. I thought that was really cool because like that's how it would look in real life. So I thought that that's how it would look in if they had actually filmed it in a real classroom. The light from the window would be totally blown out. So I thought that was cool that they did that. I think that they did that really well. And they also did a good job of, they had the realistic animated stuff, but they also had, the cartoony animation throughout it that that I thought was good also. Like, I think the animation of the souls was cool. I think that one of the things that in it that I thought was really cartoony but looked good, like it was cartoony in a good way, was like when 22 was the lost soul. I think that was really well animated. I also really like the designs of the beings that are in the Great Beyond and the Great Before. I thought that they looked really cool. And when Terry is, going like around like hiding in different things, trying to find Joe, I think that was really cool the way they did that. When he's like hiding in like the heartbeat monitor at the hospital, and when he's like the crosswalk guy, I think that was really cool. That whole sequence I thought was really really cool. But getting into more like specifics of just the story of it, I think that I really liked. I think that Joe and 22 were like the perfect pairing. Like I liked how they set it up for them to be the perfect pairing, because like Joe is a soul that a soul that's died, that is desperately trying to get back to Earth, to live the rest of his life, and 22 is a soul who hasn't been born yet, who desperately does not want to go to Earth at all. So I think it was cool that it set those two up. So it's like, if the original plan, that of course didn't go according to plan, but the original plan was, Joe helps 22 get the Earth pass, so then he can take it, he can go back to Earth, live the rest of his life, and 22 doesn't even have to go to Earth at all, ever, so that seems, I think that they did a good job of setting that up, because of like their, their perfect pairing of the two, because they're in pretty much polar opposite situations, so that's what makes it so their plan is, it's the only pairing that the plan really would have worked well. Of course, it doesn't go according to plan, because another thing that I really liked that this movie did that really surprised me happens, where Joe and 22 end up in the wrong bodies. 22 ends up in Joe's body, and Joe ends up in a cat, which I really like how, they didn't play it for, like, it wasn't just a thing that was played for laughs, but it was actually integral to the story. Like, it was actually something that, moved both of their characters forward and changed their characters, instead of just, oh, haha, he's in a cat, that's funny. And, 22 doesn't know how to actually use a human body, yeah, that's funny. It was like, it actually, they do that at first, but it's used to change both of their characters. 22 ends up seeing what life on Earth is really like, what it's like to actually be in a body, what it's like to walk, and what it's like to taste pizza, which I have to say is a great selling point for living on Earth. I mean, where else in the universe are you gonna get a piece of bread with tomato sauce on it and cheese and maybe some other toppings? I mean, nowhere else in the universe besides Earth is that ever gonna be in existence, so great selling point. But then on a more serious side, there's the moment where she sees the the student of Joe's playing the trombone, and she realizes, what it's actually like to, to be passionate about something, and that really changes 22's character to, actually, to start. It starts to get her to the point where she gets her spark to want to go to live on Earth, and I think that was a really great scene with 22 and the girl with the trombone who comes there to say that she wants to quit band, but then 22 gets her to realize that she actually does like to play the trombone, and at the same time 22 realizes that it is possible to really be passionate about something on your life on Earth. I think that they did a really good job with showing how 22 being in Joe's body changes her character, and at the same time Joe changes because he realizes that he's spent his whole life focusing on this one goal of getting a gig in a jazz band playing piano, and that's just what he's been wanting his whole entire life, to the point where he never really experienced anything else. Like, he really never, that was all he ever thought about, and he never really just let the moments throughout his life, he never really got to experience those little moments. And I think that, it's really shown well when they go to the barber, because he realizes that he only ever talked to his barber about jazz music, and it's only when 22 starts talking to him about just random other stuff that he finds out a bunch of stuff about his barber, who he's went to for years, that he never even knew about before. And I think that was a really cool thing there, where it starts to change Joe's character to realize that he wasn't really living his life. He was always thinking about what his life could be instead of seeing what his life was, which I think is really important to the theme of one of the themes of the movie, which I'll get to the themes later. But I think that was really cool how 22 and Joe, both of their characters changed just because of this one, at first seemingly silly thing of Joe ending up in a cat's body and 22 ending up in Joe's body. And that really changed both of them in a great. Another moment that I really liked was how they used Joe's voice when he was standing up to his mother, telling her how he really felt about music. And I think that it was really important that they used Joe's voice there, because, previously they had only really used 22's voice, except for when they first got into the different bodies, to just establish that other people hear Joe instead of 22's voice. So I think that it's really good that they used Joe's voice during this scene, because it showed more that this is really what Joe is. This is really what Joe's thoughts. What is what is in Joe's heart. That this is actually what he thinks. So I think that using Joe's voice during that was really important to this scene. Another moment that I want to point out is when Joe actually gets to play in the jazz band with Dorothea Williams, and he realizes that maybe it wasn't all that he thought it was. Maybe, this dream that he had for his entire life wasn't really what he wanted, and that I think that the next scene, when he's playing the piano and he's thinking about all the different moments throughout his life, he realizes that he really did have a good life, and he was kind of taking that for granted. Again, that goes with the theme that I'll get to later, but I think that was an interesting, thing that they did there with, this moment, this thing that throughout the movie, that's what that's what his goal is. And when he finally gets it, it it's not this big triumphant thing. It's more of like, okay, he did it, and now what? So I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, the moment in every single Pixar movie that ever existed, the moment where everybody cries. I'm talking about the moment where Joe goes with 22 back to Earth. He goes as far as he can go there. And I think that was just such a great moment between the two of them. Like, 22's finally, wanting, finally getting to, finally got to the point where she wants to go to Earth and is finally going to Earth to actually live her life. And Joe is finally accepting his death, that he won't, he's accepting that he lived his life, and he's, giving up his chance to go back and live the rest of his life so that 22 can go. And I think that was a really great moment. But then, of course, it kind of is undercutted by the next scene where they give Joe the second chance to live his life anyway, which I have mixed feelings about it. I kind of feel like it undercuts the last scene of Joe sacrificing his ability to go to Earth, giving 22 her Earth pass that he had. So it seems like it's kind of good that they let him go back and he can finally actually enjoy his life, but it also, it's like, they had the whole scene where he was realizing how, what he did have throughout his life. So I don't know, I feel like it would have fit better with the themes a bit if they had, just had it end with him going, into the great beyond. But I guess Pixar really needed their happy ending, so it's fine. I think it works, but maybe it would have worked a little bit better the other way. And so those are all the moments throughout the film that I really enjoyed. And now I want to get into the main theme that I got out of the movie. You may have gotten some other themes from the movie that I didn't notice, but this is the main one that I got out of the movie. And it is that life is about the journey, not the destination. I think that this movie does a really good job at showing that. It really shows that your life really isn't about having a grand purpose, a grand goal that you're going towards. I mean, it's good to have one to an extent, but not to the point where it's all you ever think about, to the point where it takes away from all the little moments. Like, life is really about experiencing the little things in life, like walking, or getting a haircut, or eating pizza. Life is simply about just enjoying living, just enjoying life. It's not about, having this grand purpose, this grand goal. And of course, again, it's good to have one. I think everybody should have something that they are passionate about, that they are working towards, but, it's important to just experience little things. Because it can be pretty easy to let your ideas of the future rob you of experiencing what's happening in the present. And I think that this movie does a good job at showing that through Joe. How Joe, he was always focusing on, the future of one day being in this jazz band, and he never really looked at what he actually had in his life, being a teacher, really changing these children's lives, getting them to be passionate about something. And he didn't talk to his barber about anything besides music. Only when 22 was talking to him, he realized stuff that he didn't even know about his barber. He realizes that the grand purpose that he had in his mind, the grand goal that he wanted, robbed him of really experiencing what he had. So I think that through that, it really does show a really important theme that life is about the journey, not the destination. And that's really just something that Pixar really does well, is kind of hiding these really serious adult themes behind, you know, this, colorful animation and, oh look, yeah, he's inside of a, he's in a cat now, and it's like, and that they do such a good job at taking, these silly scenarios and, you know, giving a really good theme uh, inside of it. And I think that Soul does a really good job at doing that, and I think that's why Soul, even though it just came out a week ago, is pretty much instantly one of the greatest Pixar movies ever. So those are my thoughts on the new Pixar movie, Soul. Please comment below your thoughts on it, and of course, remember, as always, to like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and with that said, that's a wrap.